Oh, hi guys. Welcome back. Just finishing up a little paperwork while I was doing some lunch. How y'all doing? Everything going well? We're still out for school, so I'm still doing some stories for y'all while I got some chance. So while I'm on this lunch break, would you guys like to hear a story? How about one of the classics? And these get overlooked a lot of times, but these are have you ever heard the story of, or the stories of Brer Rabbit? Oh, they're fantastic stories. Brer Rabbit is a lot like Jack, who we talked about before, and Brer Rabbit's a lot like some of my students over at the elementary school where I work as the SRO, or the school resource officer over there. I think you'll like these stories. Let me check. Yeah, we have time for a story. Just real quick. This one is called Brer Rabbit and the Vegetable Patch. The very old farmer had the best vegetable patch in the village. Well, he would, wouldn't he? He'd hoe, dig, and water his carrots, radishes, and cucumbers every day. And every year, the old farmer won at least one prize at the fall fair for his vegetables. Sometimes he'd win 2 or 3, or even 4 prizes. If he wasn't looking after his vegetable patch, he'd be looking after his 3 hound dogs. Blue, Black, and Brown. Those were the names of his dogs. Many wondered which he loved more, his vegetables or his old hound dogs. Well, that's a good question. Now, Brer Rabbit often watched the very old farmer care for his vegetables from the safety of a large bush. He tried to get into the vegetable patch, but he had never managed to do it. You see, the very old farmer was also good at making fences and keeping rabbits out. He made them too tall for a rabbit to hop over, and he made the gaps too small for even the smallest kitten to squeeze through. Now, isn't it strange that a baby rabbit shares the same name as a baby cat? But you didn't know baby rabbits were called kittens. He'd also pile large rocks around the inside of the fence so that rabbits couldn't dig under it. Well, that changed one morning when Brer Rabbit noticed a loose nail. "What have we got here?" Brer Rabbit asked himself as he carefully pushed the slat in the fence to one side, just right for a rabbit to slip through. He slipped through the gap and looked around, and he couldn't believe his luck. Oh my, where to start? Brer Rabbit hopped over to the line of carrots and sniffed them. Carrot tops, my favorite. He grabbed a carrot top and nibbled until it came away from the carrot. "Absolutely delicious," Brer Rabbit said. "I'll think I'd take a couple of these home." And with a nibble here and a nibble there, Brer Rabbit soon had an armful of carrot tops, and he then slipped back through the gap and hopped on home. The next morning, the very old farmer visited his vegetable patch, and as he closed the gate behind him, he noticed that some of the carrot tops were missing off of his carrots. "The cheek of it," he says. "Who's been at my carrots?" he asked himself. "Perhaps maybe they left me a clue." Luckily for Brer Rabbit, just as the very old farmer reached the line of carrots, a gust of wind blew Brer Rabbit's footprints away. So try as he might, the very old farmer couldn't work out who had taken his carrot tops. That evening, Brer Rabbit pulled back the loose fence panel and snuck into the vegetable patch again. What should I take tonight?" he asked himself. He looked around and spotted a line of radishes. Perhaps just a few of them," he said, and with a nibble here and a nibble there, Brer Rabbit soon had an armful of radish tops. He then slipped out and hopped home to enjoy the feast. The next morning, the very old farmer visited his vegetable patch, and as he closed the gate behind him, he noticed the radish tops were missing. Now they've been at my radishes," he said, shaking his head. "Perhaps they've left me a clue." Luckily for Brer Rabbit, just as the very old farmer reached the line of radishes, a gust of wind blew Brer Rabbit's footprints away again. So try as he might, the very old farmer couldn't work out who had taken his radish tops. Now that evening, Brer Rabbit pulled back the loose fence panel and snuck into the vegetable garden again. Brer Rabbit said, I fancy something different tonight. What shall I take? He looked around and spotted a line of cucumbers. Perhaps just a few leaves from them and a few carrot tops. And with a nibble here and a nibble there, Brer Rabbit soon had an armload of cucumber leaves and carrot tops. But as he nibbled, there was a pitter-patter of raindrops starting to fall. Brer Rabbit said to himself, better hurry. I don't want to get too wet. He slipped back through the gap and hopped on home to enjoy his feast. Well, the next morning, the very old farmer visited his patch again, and as he closed the gate behind him, once more he noticed more carrot tops were missing, and then he also noticed that some of his cucumbers were missing some of their leaves. Why, the cheekiness of it! They've been in my vegetables again, he said, shaking his head. Perhaps they've left me a clue this time. Well, the very old farmer bent down and looked, and what did he see? But some little rabbit footprints in the damp earth. Oh my. So that's who's been visiting my vegetable patch, he said with a smile. I think I should introduce that little Brer Rabbit to my old friends, Blue, Black, and Brown. Those are his dogs, you know. That evening, as Brer Rabbit slipped into the vegetable patch once more, he noticed something was different. He sniffed the air, and he heard a whimper and a whine. I know who that is. That's those old hound dogs, he said. I better get out of here. Well, Brer Rabbit carefully hopped back to the gap, trying to make sure he wasn't noticed, but it was too late. Oh, Blue, Black, and Brown could smell him. Brer Rabbit, go get that rascal, boys, shouted the old farmer, opening his front door. The three old hound dogs dashed out. Brer Rabbit started to run. He wove in and out of the tree stumps and under the brush. You ever seen a rabbit run or try to chase one? That's what's going on here. Soon he reached the road and that led to his burrow. In the distance he could hear Blue, Black, and Brown, the hound dogs, looking for his scent. They whimpered, whined, and barked with excitement as they were picking up his trail, and they were happy, because dogs love to chase rabbits, especially Brer Rabbit. Just then, who should Brer Rabbit bump into but Brer Raccoon, and Brer Fox, and Brer Bear. Brer Rabbit had an idea. He ran up to them, then around and around and around them. Hello, dear friends. How are y'all this fine night? Brer Rabbit asked between gasps and laps around the group. He gave Brer Raccoon a big hug, then Brer Fox, and finally Brer Bear. Well, at least Brer Bear's legs, because, you know, bears are much bigger than rabbits and they're kind of tall sometimes. Now, this hug wasn't just a little hug, it was a big hug, a best friend type of hug. Ah, I'm sorry, Brer Rabbit said. I'm running late and I must dash, but it would have been rude not to just say hello. Well, Brer Rabbit then quickly hopped in the direction of his burrow, leaving these three friends standing there a little bit confused about what just happened. What was that all about? Asked Brer Raccoon. Not a clue, replied Brer Fox. Do you think it has anything to do with those hound dogs? Asked Brer Bear, pointing down the lane. I wouldn't, but he didn't have time to finish his sentence, because just then Blue, Black, and Brown, the hound dogs, came into view. Blue, Black, and Brown stopped running and looked at each other confused. None of them looks like Brer Rabbit, said Blue. Well, they all smell like Brer Rabbit, said Black. So, which one do you think we need to chase? Asked Brown. The old hound dogs looked at one another, grinned, and said, let's chase all of them. I'll chase the one on the left, said Blue. I'll chase the one in the middle, said Black. And I'll chase the one on the right, said Brown. And as the three hounds decided which friend to chase, the three friends looked at one another. I think they're going to chase us, said Brer Raccoon. Brer Fox replied, "I think you're right." Brer Bear said, "Yeah, we better run." Blue, Black, and Brown barked with excitement. "After them!" they shouted. The old hound dog started to run, and so did the three friends. And as they ran, Brer Raccoon looked over his shoulder, and he saw, to his dismay, Blue getting nearer and nearer. Just as Blue was about to nip Brer Raccoon's tail, Brer Raccoon reached a tree and climbed it faster than he'd ever climbed a tree before. Blue crashed into the tree with a large thump. Gotta watch where you're running. Suddenly, Brer Raccoon knew why Brer Rabbit had hugged him so tightly. That crafty old rabbit," he said. "He left his scent on me so those old hound dogs would chase me and not him. I'll have to get right back at him for this." Whilst Blue was chasing Brer Raccoon, Black was chasing Brer Fox. Now, unlike raccoons, foxes can't climb trees, you see. So Brer Fox used his cunning, used his mind, and thought about it, to outwit the old hound dog, and hid, crouching on a large rock on the riverbank. And as he watched Black trying to find his scent, he heard the old hound dog say, I didn't know rabbits could just disappear like that." Suddenly, Brer Fox knew why Brer Rabbit had hugged him so tightly. Crafty old rabbit," he said. "He left his scent on me, knowing those hound dogs would chase me and not him. I'll have to get him back for this." Well, as Blue was pacing around the base of the tree and Black was trying to sniff out the disappearing rabbit, Brown was chasing the Brer Bear. Now, Brer Bear knew the very old farmer's hound dogs didn't like water none. So when he reached the river, he just jumped in, because bears like water. And he swam away. And as he swam, he looked over his shoulder to see Brown sitting on the riverbank, rightly confused. He then heard him say, "I didn't know rabbits could swim." Suddenly, Brer Bear knew why Brer Rabbit had hugged him so tightly. "That crafty old rabbit," he said. "He left his scent on me so those old hound dogs would chase me and not him. I'll have to get him back for this." And as this mayhem was going down, old Brer Rabbit was in his den. He was a-nibbling on the last of the carrots and cucumber leaves. He smiled great big and said, "Delicious." That is the story of Brer Rabbit and the hound dogs. I hope you liked it. It's one of the first ones. Now, Brer Rabbit is based on stories that have actually been told all around the world. And at one time, when people were brought into this country to work as slaves, which we all know is wrong, and we've learned from that. But these slaves brought these stories in from their homeland and told them to their children and the neighbor children. And sometimes the stories changed a little bit in order to make them fit and make it easier for the people that lived here and the children that lived here to understand them. So this is part of our history, and we need to learn from it. Other things we need to learn. We wash our hands, guys, right? We wash our hands, we keep some distance, we be polite, we watch out for each other, we listen to mom and dad because they're looking out for us. We don't get scared by some things that might seem strange to us. If we are curious, we ask mom and dad, grandma, grandpa, uncle, or aunt, or big sister, or maybe even little brother or little sister. They might give you some good answers too. But we ask some people that know, and we all find out that everybody's looking out and to help us and take care of us. And you shouldn't worry about it. Okay? Again, our important things. Keep our hands clean. Keep our distance. Don't touch our face. And we're going to get through this, and we're all going to be back at school soon. All right? So, thank you for listening to my Brer Rabbit, and I'll hopefully have another one for you before too long. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.